Revati. Today I am going to explain about the physics activity force. Now what is force? A force is a push or pull of an object. Force is anything that changes or tends to change the state of rest or motion or direction of a body. It is measured in Newton and is expressed as N. Now we have learned what is force. Now shall we learn about the types of force? Force is mainly divided into two categories: contact force and non-contact force. Now let's learn what is contact force and what is non-contact force. Contact force. A force acting between the two bodies that requires contact is called contact force. Examples of contact force are muscular force and frictional force. Now what is non-contact force? The force acting between the two bodies that does not require any physical contact between them is called non-contact force. Examples of non-contact force are magnetic force, gravitational force and electrostatic force. Now we'll learn about contact force and non-contact force. Let's see if they're further divided. Now contact force is further divided into two types: frictional force and muscular force. Now let's learn about frictional force and muscular force. Frictional force. The resistive force acting between the two bodies that are in contact and in motion such that it opposes the motion is called frictional force. Frictional force exists only if two surfaces are in contact. Therefore, frictional force is a contact force. Now, what is muscular force? The force that is the result of action of muscles is called muscular force. For example, a weightlifter lifting the weight with the force applied by his arms. Now we've learned about frictional force and muscular force. Now let's see about the types of non-contact forces. Non-contact force is divided into three types: gravitational force, electrostatic force and magnetic force. Let's learn about them. Now what is gravitational force? The force of attraction that pulls the object towards the surface of the earth is called gravitational force. Gravitational force acts between the objects in the universe. Now what is electrostatic force? The force acting between the charged particles is called electrostatic force. It can be either attractive or repulsive between the charged particles. Now let's learn about magnetic force. The force exerted between two magnets or between a magnetic material such as iron is called magnetic force. Like electrostatic force, magnetic force is either attractive or repulsive. Now when we come back to contact forces in frictional force is again divided into two types: static friction and kinetic friction. Now let's learn about static and kinetic friction. Static friction. Now what is static friction? The friction acting between the two surfaces where there is no relative motion between them is called static friction. Now what is kinetic friction? The frictional force acting between two surfaces where there is a relative motion is called kinetic friction. Now if we see, kinetic friction is again further divided into two parts: rolling friction and sliding friction. Let's learn about them. First, rolling friction. Now what is rolling friction? The frictional force acting between two surfaces where an object rolls over the surface is called rolling friction. Now what is sliding friction? The frictional force acting between two surfaces when an object slides over the surface is called sliding force. Now we've learned about the types of contact forces and non-contact forces and what is force. That is it for today. Thank you.